Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show, East-West Show with G&E TV. It is a show viewed on a daily basis by lots of audiences, and all of them like the show. I have emails. They give a very, very big comment on it, and some even 2 thumbs up. Right? I like that. For that, thank you very much. Yes, today joining me is my good friend, Mr. Ken Hemming, and a famous writer of a beautiful book, Life is Simple, 100 Words Live By. However, today we're not talking about his book. It might relate to some of his concept in the book, but it is actually not about the book. It's about, let's start with LA Clippers.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you for letting me be here, Jack.
Okay, very good. Okay, good. It was a huge event, a huge party. The Staples Center was packed with people for a celebration of the new team leader, or new team ownership. Mr. Stephen Ballmer made quite a moment, quite a wonderful moment, and let's talk about it. And once again, it is our tradition to let the news take the portion of the news. What we go after is a message.
Yes.
So for a message, though, we're always finding stories behind the story, right? We'll find stories behind the news, or maybe another story behind the story. Right? So talking about message, though, Cam, what kind of message do you think that event, I mean, not only the event itself, the turnover, the ownership, delivered to you?
Well, as you know, Jack, I'm a sportsman, okay? I went through college on a baseball scholarship. I'm a competitor, and I love sporting activities.
All right.
Two main things come out of this yesterday. Number one, it won't be boring when Steve is around. I looked on the YouTube at some of, when he was the master ceremonies of some of the Microsoft events that he hosted, and he's a wild man. And he's running around, and he's screaming, and he's sweating, and he's excited. And so there's a new dimension way out of boredom into like thrilling activities that he's going to be the leader of. And in fact, after 2 minutes yesterday, he lost his voice because he just is so active.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like the guy for many reasons. Number one, he graduated magna cum laude from Harvard and had an 800 on the SAT mathematics test, and is a very smart guy. And he came from Detroit, and I've calculated that he probably has made more money himself than all of the Motown people put together in Detroit, which I love the concept, okay?
Good.
But so I like him. I'm not sure, he was not a particular participant in sports in his background, so I'm wondering why he has such an interest. However, he was a manager on the football team, a manager at Harvard, and he was coached some little league and basketball teams with his kids up in Washington. So I don't know why he does this. He just left in 2012 as the CEO of Microsoft, accumulating approximately $20 billion right now. And so he put 10% of it, $2 billion, into the Clippers. Why? I'm not sure. It's not in his hometown. He wants to, get a winner. He can afford the best talent around. And what does bother me is sports people used to be a Yankee for their whole career, a Dodger for their whole career, or whatever, in whatever the major sports. And now I think it's more about money, who's got the money, and less about who's got the athletes. And I don't like money dictating everything. So that part bothers me.
All right, good. And I like your analysis, and I like your sense about the message that was delivered. But to me, neither am I a fan of LA Laker, nor am I a fan of Clippers.
Yes, sir.
I'm just me.
Yes.
That's it, right? So whoever does something like this, that's good. And as long as the message is positive, I raise my both thumbs up for it. Right? As to the action or performances that Stephen has put up on stage, that's different stories.
Yeah.
People, where's that a lot of money? Well, whatever they do, they are right. As long as you
well-
have money, you can do anything you want. You can act any way you want because you are the money. Money
Yeah.
is you.
Except that unfortunately, in the case of Donald Sterling, who owned it before and had billions, you know, just because he was a little bit loose-lipped, they made him sell the team. I disagree with that reason, but that's life, and that's what happened. So he was really subjected to, you know, a punishment for being who he was.
Of course. At least there's only one of the teams we're talking about.
Yes.
As the changing hands of the ownership of a team is the other. Right. That's, by the way, exactly is what I want to look into to find more messages about it. What indicates to me is that LA is a part of the country, is a piece of land that anybody who said something as wrong as Donald Sterling did would cost him a team that is worth of $2 billion in a beat, with a beat, right?
Not a bad punishment in a way. He's got a lot of money.
Not a bad punishment.
Yeah.
Over for several months, with the argument going back and forth. And by the way, Donald Sterling is filing another case with the federal to quote unquote cover his face, whatever. Right. That's a different story. What I'm thinking is what I'm adoring is the culture that's been created on this piece of land, that anybody who made a statement of that nature would cost him arms and legs, if not a lifetime saving. Right?
But and yet certain statements can be said by somebody and it will be despised and punished for it. And other statements can be made by other that, in my opinion, are just as outrageous, and there's no punishment. So it's always a very unique situation. Sure. Now the big deal too in LA, it's such a huge market. $2.15 billion was paid for the Dodgers. So it takes so much money now. You used to have people that owned it. Now it's like either mega rich people or organizations, and it's taken away the personal, I think it's taken away the personal relationship between the owner, even though personable people, okay, between the owner and the players.
All right. That's one side of the story. The other side of the story is exactly what I want to emphasize. Please do not drag me away from it.
Yes, sir.
Is that the message is that whoever says something of that nature would cost him arms and legs. Right?
You're exactly right, but some get away with it and some don't, and it's not a fair playing field who gets away with it and who doesn't.
All right, you're talking.
That's my point.
Now you're talking. Somebody says something like Beckles.
Yeah. Right.
Somebody who says something like Jimmy, what is his name?
Fallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they do anything of that?
Why do they get away with it?
Any punishment of that nature, right?
Yeah. Well, you're right, because not enough. Well, you know, with the Beckel thing, there's just not enough backlash from the Chinese community who are offended by it. Not a powerful enough backlash. And then anything even remotely associated with some perception of racism, which I think really is not as big in existence as other people say, is involving, say, Caucasians and African Americans. It's so sensitive and that it gets more attention and more reaction than if someone said anything outrageous about me, it'd get none.
Can we say that LA has set up a very good example for being very judicious? So we take no sides of colors. We are disinterested in colors.
Totally, I am.
We're totally neutral.
Yes, sir.
Right. For example, if you recall, O.J. Simpson was a black.
Yep.
Right. So the verdict was that he didn't kill.
Right.
Right.
And we all think the verdict was wrong.
Kelly Thomas wasn't black.
Right.
And he was killed.
Right.
Right. So regardless.
Yeah.
So am I getting the message in the right way or a wrong way or even a sarcastic way?
I just think it's not an even playing field. Some people can get away with some things because there are some sensitivities in our culture now, some of which are enhanced by some of our leaders that want controversy. and thrive on controversy.
No, this whole thing has nothing to do with the leaders. It is the concept, it is the culture you're talking about. I am trying to enlarge the message that it delivered, the team ownership has delivered so far, to indicate that the LA is a place of justice. It's a place of being judicious, right? We're so fair, so we can kill a white people
Nobody cares.
who has done nothing, right?
Right.
And we can make a black who we believe, lots of people believe, killed,
Right.
a free man.
Right. That's right.
So are we taking the lessons positively or are we taking the lessons negatively? That's the answer I want you to give me, please.
I find it a little bit of a negative answer rather than a positive one, because I do believe in justice in its purest form, in its pure form, only based on facts and reality, whatever they may be, and sometimes we don't know what they are.
All right.
But that's what I will breathe for.
Or probably we're so confused that sometimes we don't tell right from wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
It's confusing.
So as a result, you might see that we are so judicious. We're so disinterested in colors. We're so equal, people to people. But yet sometimes we forget something.
Well, I think the major media is interested in color and likes to exacerbate and exaggerate it.
All right.
As a factor.
They get no punishment, right? Okay,
Sometimes.
Now, from that, we have to notice the other side of the world, the other side of the country. Somewhere, somehow, in a town of Ferguson?
Yeah, Ferguson.
Ferguson of Missouri.
Yes, sir.
The Show Me State.
Yes,
Right.
it is.
We are encountering something that cannot show anything, cannot indicate any message like this kind, what we have in LA.
Correct.
Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll bring our audiences to what's happening in Missouri. Please stay with us. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show. My name is Jack Xiao. I am on the East to West show with G&E TV. Today, we're talking about the message, the Clipper team ownership changing hands that delivers to us. And from that on, we try to take a look all around us, elsewhere in the country, see if things are so equal, so justified like it is in LA right now. In Missouri, a small town called Ferguson,
Yep.
and somebody, 18 years old guy named Mike Brown, was killed by a police officer, by at least a police officer. And protests are ongoing, even at this moment as we speak. And then some protesters were even kind of in the form of being violent, right? And then police forces are being enforced, and tear gases are fired, rubber bullets are fired. Things were going kind of
south
to a point where President Obama had to say something. So what is your comment on the overall situation of that case?
Well, let me start out with one thought that I have. A protester in a peaceful way has that right in America, and I admire and respect that right. I believe a violent rioter and looter is not a protester. He is just a criminal. And I think we don't differentiate. It's not about the protests. The guys that are burning stores, stealing stuff, shooting at people, don't care one bit about Michael Brown. They're not there for that. They're there to be a criminal.
All right.
and to cause havoc. So I am a zero tolerance person, and you're probably much nicer than that, but I'm a zero tolerance person for people that commit violence, loot, and everything we talk about on your show is about character, and the character of a violent looter and rioter is the same character as a jihadist or a terrorist anywhere in the world.
Let's put it this way. Say if there are 99 people on Earth,
Yes, sir.
About 1/3 being the very good,
Okay.
about 1/3 being the very bad, about 1/3 being the average.
Okay.
Right? The good people looking for chances to display what they have as good.
Yes.
Right? And the bad people are looking for opportunities to commit crimes, to steal, to rob, to burn, to do whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when everybody looking for a chance to do what they want to do, and there goes the chance. If something of that nature, of that elevation, so unjustified happened, it does offer a chance for them, especially the bad portion of the bad 1/3, to explode themselves,
Well, right now,
to release the evil part.
Right.
Do you think so?
yes, right now they're coming from as far away as New York, hoodlums, bad people, to have a chance to be bad.
Yes.
They're doing it. They're all being attracted to the
I agree
opportunity.
with you. I agree with you.
And
but
no-
there is a ignition to it.
In my opinion, there is zero reason for that activity, no matter what.
No. I'm not reasoning it.
Okay.
Don't confuse my audience with these words.
Right.
Reasoning, to reason is one thing. To analyze is the other.
Okay.
I'm analyzing the fact that some events, such as the death of Mike Brown, offers them a chance to take advantage
It does.
of the system
100%.
to release the evil part of their mind.
Right.
So that is what I'm talking about.
That's absolutely right.
So you and I in agreement with.
Oh,
Right?
100%. And it's inexcusable for anybody to use that opportunity.
Of course you're right. Of course you're
Yeah.
right. But what's happening to the Michael Brown case, though, it is something really people have doubt about. Right? So what's your take about the Michael Brown case? Was
Well,
he justified?
I'm not on the jury. I do know this, that he performed a criminal act 15 minutes before he was shot. I don't like anybody to die. I don't want anybody to die. And he had not killed anybody or whatever himself at that time. He had beaten up, roughed up a guy that owns the convenience store that he stole from. And it's on tape. And then people were saying they shouldn't have released the tape because it disparages his reputation. It doesn't disparage it, it shows what he did.
Of course.
So it's not disparaging, it's the truth.
I have no problem with the release of the tape.
Yeah, I have none. So what I don't know, though, my understanding there was a confrontation, a physical confrontation between him and police officer or officers, including reaching into the car, trying to harm the policeman. But I don't know positively because we don't, okay?
All right.
The deep details. But I do know this, that when a police officer legitimately feels his life is in danger, he wants to go home and see his kids. We all do.
Oh, sure.
You know, and
Yeah, I agree.
so when they really feel that, they have to do what they have to do. Because if you, in that kind of police enforcement activity, if you wait a nanosecond out of courtesi, you may be dead. So you have to be careful.
All right.
And so I don't have I'm sorry he's dead. If he wasn't dead, he'd be on his way to jail from the robbery. But so I'm sorry. And then there's wonderful people in that town. It's a town of 20-some thousand. It has a 50% unemployment rate for black males, and so it's economically disadvantaged. But economically disadvantaged does not allow for a disadvantaged character and personal value system to trigger in.
All right, good. I like your statement, but I have to do my statement one by one
Yes, sir.
versus your point. Okay. point number one, the release of the tapes of him robbing a grocery shop,
Yes, sir.
grocery store, I have no problem with, right? Because what it did show on TV was a fact. Well, as to should they do that or not, it's only a question of timing, right? Timing doesn't change the actual fact, right? Timing
Right.
doesn't change the actual fact.
Yeah.
I have 5 fingers on this hand.
Right.
When I show today, it's 5 fingers.
Yeah.
When I show tomorrow, it's still 5 fingers,
Right.
unless something happened overnight.
Yes, sir.
If I
That's
do
right.
show 1 finger short,
Yeah. Something happened.
next morning something must have happened,
Something must have happened.
right? So I'm talking about showing the actual fact has nothing to be wrong, nothing to
Right.
be taken as wrong, whatever. But when
It's
you
part of
show
the
something,
truth.
when you show something at a time when the whole case is premature, to emphasize this is a bad guy, why don't you show the autopsy report at the same time to let people know the finding so far? So that the conflicts. Do you see the conflicts?
Well, I don't.
They release what they think favorable to them. They do not release what they think unfavorable to them.
But I did, and I'm not sure about that, because I did see a press situation with a lawyer and some other people where it had the figure of the body, had where the bullets went, and it was pretty much a verbal autopsy report. So I don't know about the printed
That was
one.
an interview.
That I
That
don't
was an
know.
interview called on the street, talking to the assistant to the autopsy officer.
Okay, I thought it was
Okay.
in a
No,
building,
no.
but okay.
It was not the official autopsy
No,
report,
right,
black and white in writing.
Right.
Now, especially at the moment when people do not know who did what, right?
Okay.
When people are not clear of what was happening exactly at that moment when the guy was shot, what we rely upon? Science. Scientific findings. Am I right?
It contributes in a substantial way, yes.
If
Not in
I doubt
totality.
your blood type,
Right,
are you an A or B or O or a C?
yeah.
You could be a C, I don't know.
I'm
right?
A positive.
A positive.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right there, my friend.
Oh my God, that's a handshake.
You need a
That's why we
transfusion, I'm
fight-
here.
That's why we're fighting all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, now, so when I wonder your blood type, if it's a A plus, the only way to know is to find a report, to do a
Yeah.
blood test,
Right,
right?
right.
Now, as who did what? Everybody's guessing, everybody's pointing fingers, everybody's talking about I'm innocent, so on and so forth. I was facing imminent danger as unless there is a videotape that shows it.
Right.
Other than that, you'd better shut up. And while you're shutting up, the only reliable source is the scientific finding, which is the forensic report. The forensic finding. The forensic finding, according to the assistant to the autopsy officer, all right, on the body, there is no gunpowder to the wound, nearby the wound.
Okay, that indicates a little distance between.
That indicates some distance.
Right.
Right? At least 2 to 10 feet away.
Yeah, that I
Right?
don't know, but yeah.
Okay, now, would a police officer face imminent danger with a distance between 2 to 10 feet unless this person has a gun in hand? Which later we find out he didn't have any.
Okay, I think the answer is yes. 2 feet is not very far, and a guy can overcome
I am
a
2
cop
feet
with
away.
a gun.
I am 2 feet away.
I'm in danger.
You're in danger.
But
right.
but it's 2 feet
Are
is not
you
much.
in such a danger that it is so dangerous that it costs you 6 bullets to stop me?
Well, for example, I'm very interested in your response to this. For
Yeah,
example,
sure.
there's one bullet that went through this top
We'll
of the
talk
skull.
about that
Oh,
later.
okay.
We'll talk about
Sorry.
that. That's another interesting point.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
I am talking about, so how could a distance between 2 to 10 feet create a imminent danger so imminent, so serious that the officer has to use 6 bullets to stop.
Well, if the person was 10 feet away and was coming toward you, then you have to use whatever you have to use. I don't know whether, and there's another element here called witnesses, and witnesses often have their own agenda, and they may be telling the truth and they may not
were
be.
turned down. There were witnesses. And what the witness says is in contradiction with what the police says.
And
even to the PD part, they cannot fake out a story about what exactly happened.
Well, the
They
witness
say,
can.
They
can lie.
They just say investigations are ongoing, and we'll hold on the conclusion until much later, which will be probably 30 to 60 days. That's what they say. But the thing is that when the forensic report is lying there on the desk, black and white, why people go take a look at that? So let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue the finding. We do our findings.
Yes, we do.
All right, good. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on East West Show with the G&E TV with my good friend, Mr. Ken Hammy, who I argue all the time, especially when we talk about problems like this.
Serious problems.
It is very mystifying. We're talking about the Mike Brown's death in town in Missouri, called the Show Me State nickname.
Yes, sir. I love the state.
I did my homework. It's called the Show Me. And show me is exactly the term we're talking about.
Yes, you're
Show
right.
me the evidence. Habeas corpus. Is that the term?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Show me the evidence why the police officer was facing imminent danger. When they can show the evidences, there are evidences there on the autopsy report at least. So the forensic finding has already indicated the distance, right?
Yeah, I don't know what
Within which the common sense tells 99% of whatever would not be a situation that one could face a life to death dangerous.
Well, and we humbly sort of disagree on that. A man could have a big rock in his hand that he can throw from 10 feet very
Did
easily.
he have a big rock?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
That's an assumption.
No, I'm
Unless
saying,
you can prove it, everybody's guilty. Everybody's guilty. Everybody's innocent until proven. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty, right?
yes.
You could think that I might have robbed the bank last
and
night.
the officer is innocent until proven guilty. Also.
No. I'm not saying the guilty part.
Right.
I'm saying the officer has a gun in hand.
Right.
And there's no indication of the guy has a piece of rock in hand, right? Unless you prove it.
But
Am I right?
they had some physical confrontation. So there was already a pre-established confrontation.
Okay. During the confrontation, if the gun was fired during the confrontation, the physical confrontation, there could be gunpowders on the chest anywhere, and the gunpowder goes like a spray. Boom. You know that, right? I know that. And I believe my audience know that. So
Well,
the residues, the elements, the parcels spray out, boom, like that. So
Yeah.
you will have burns somewhere nearby the wound area.
I will just say in my little life, I have had a gun in my face from a few feet away, wondering if I'm going to be shot. And I have had instances where people are 6, 8, 10 feet away that I thought I was in very serious danger. Now, I didn't have a gun at that time, obviously.
Did you
does
fire 6 times to protect yourself?
If I had had a gun and if they had come at me, I would have had to.
You were talking about your experiences.
Right,
So
my experiences.
in that experiencing moment, did you fire 6
I didn't
shots?
have a gun,
Of course
and
not.
my job was not to protect the society from criminal activity either. I was just I was a potential victim, not an enforcer of the law.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
let me step down a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, let me just bring the whole focus to another section of the problem. The other section of the problem is that the officer trying to stop some kind of danger which he feels he or she feels the imminent danger. Would one shot or two shot be enough to stop a person, a human body?
Depends where it hits. If you miss the person, I don't know. See, it all depends where it hits. It's actually quite amazing. People have been shot 8 times and live. It all depends where it hits. So I don't know that. But one overwhelming feeling I have inside my soul right now. Yes.
Okay, now we all see in movies when the guy is shot, right? Boom, boom, like that.
No, I know.
That's fake.
I know that.
That's fake.
I know.
As a matter of fact, the impact, the air push,
Right.
along with the bullet,
Right.
is the push much greater than a punch right away.
Sure.
By the biggest boxer, the strongest boxer on the chest, and you are knocked off right away, still fine.
It depends where you're hitting that and what caliber of bullet and all that. Yes, it's very complicated.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
The cop pistols, either
They're strong.
The pistol form
Yeah.
or the revolver form,
Right.
they're pretty strong.
They're strong. Yes, they are.
can knock somebody right away, and yet if you, of course, you are experienced with firing anyway, right? You
Yes.
practice firing. You
In the
know
National
that.
Guard.
The only thing missing is that you did not see how a body, be it a human body
Correct.
or animal body, whatever,
Right.
shot in a range
Right.
which is so close that you feel imminent danger already,
Right.
and that person did not only receive a hole here,
Yeah.
he first or she first received is the punch of the airflow, boom, which could push the body all the way. The body, you'll find the body lying supine there.
But
already.
I will, yeah, and
Now, my whole point is that one or two of that kind of shot would just stop the person.
well, let me say this,
Okay.
and I'm assuming you'll disagree. I believe many people in war and peace have been killed by an enemy or a criminal after that person was wounded, because there's a lot of damage a wounded person
Yes,
can do.
you're right. You're right.
That's all I.
Okay, the person has to have a gun,
Yeah, right.
right? Did he have a gun?
Yeah. At that
Did
point,
Mike Brown have a gun?
No, but
Was he
also
holding a gun in the videotape, which showed his robbery 15 minutes before?
he was holding up a poor
what?
innocent guy. Yes, in that
No, no.
videotape.
What weapon did you hold in his hand? A gun?
He held
A baseball bat?
6'4", 300 pounds. You're a weapon. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. So he's a big guy.
Yes.
Brown is 6'4", 300 pounds, and he lifted that store owner
Yeah,
just
I
up.
know. Well, he may be strong, but he's a human, right?
Yes, sir.
He's a human body.
Right.
He's a human
18-year-old
body we're talking
human,
about.
yeah.
A human body holds no gun at that very point. Could one bullet or two bullets take care?
Depends where they land. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, you don't have the answer.
I don't
right?
know.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
All right, now. I already backed one step,
Yes, sir.
right? I already backed one step. From the point, was the shooting justified? To the point that was the shooting excessive?
And I don't know.
And let me back up one more step.
Yeah.
One more step. Why would there be one bullet going in from here?
You know, that's what I was going to say before, because maybe he was coming toward the cop with his head down, and
He was,
then
no, he was flying to the cop like this, like an airplane. Right? Doing this?
Probably not. But he may have been facing him in leaning toward going in that direction. That I don't know. That's a possibility.
And you know what? That it was the last bullet.
Because he wasn't running away.
It was determined. It was determined that was the last bullet.
Because see, it wouldn't hit him here if he was running away. So that I don't know. I mean, we don't know. But can I?
Of course, if he's running away, the wound would be here, right?
Yeah.
Right. If he's heading to the officer, the wound could be here, something like that. But the wound is here, right on top.
Something
I would
like here,
assume the guy was acting like an airplane, say, flying horizontally to the officer at a degree about what? About 5 feet or 5 feet or 8 or 6 feet.
Yeah, from the policeman. Yeah.
No.
Off the air,
From,
off the
from
ground?
ground.
Yeah.
From ground.
Yeah.
Because you have to make the bullet go straight, right? And then if the officer holds the hands this way by his waist, though, and he must be flying even lower than that.
Well, yeah, he shouldn't hold it down there. It
Notice
should be
I
that
used the
way.
word flying.
Yes, sir.
I assume he was flying. And
Okay.
there's only chance he gets a bullet here. Other than that, what else can you tell me? Could make a bullet going through somebody's here?
Just if
Top
you're
of the head.
running in one direction with your head down a little
What
bit.
whoa,
That
whoa.
I don't know. But one thing, see,
When people run, the head, kind of like, 90 degrees?
well, it depends. Football players, when they're at the line of
No.
scrimmage and they're moving
Yeah.
forward,
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me borrow that.
Of
please.
course.
Okay. Here's the body, right?
Yes, sir.
Here's the head, right? When people run in 90 degrees with the head.
I think
This,
the head's
or
at least,
people run this way.
I think it's at least angled tipped down.
Okay, tip down and then Now, let's argue. Let's really do the argue, right? Let's do the degree thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we're talking about 90 degrees with the head pointing this way. Here's the body, right? Here's the body.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you're saying when most people are running, their heads are kind of like tilt a little bit to this kind of, right? So you tell me how many degrees, right? 15 degrees
I think the head
30
would be tilted.
degrees?
I think the head would be tilted
or
down
45
that way.
degrees?
Yeah.
All right, now,
yeah.
each degree changes the distance.
Yes, sir.
And changes the angle of the officer shooting.
Of entry.
Say the officer was 10 feet away from it,
Mm-hmm.
15 degrees of angle change would make the officer hold the gun this way.
Well, yeah,
you think so?
Well, see, everything you're saying is very interesting because number one, the guy's 6'4", probably the officer's shorter than him.
Yeah.
So
okay.
so that
All right.
even makes it a little bit more
The guy,
tricky. Right.
even more impossible.
Even-
right?
well, even
Okay,
more
now,
unexplainable
A guy
now.
of a 6'4", kind of like running with his head not 90 degrees, probably
Running like this.
rather like this.
Yeah.
Right. And then for an officer who is shorter than him, he has to stand on a ladder or at least on a stool to shoot like this
Okay, I don't think
to get him.
Yeah.
You see my point? Now, let's take a short moment. Let me not go over it. Right? So, we'll be right back. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the show. We're talking about a case with the passing away, the killing of Mike Brown, who was, according to the police report or police video release, was a bad guy who robbed a grocery store prior to the incident, and the officer was on duty to stop him doing that. And that was what happened, right? Okay.
My understanding is the officer did not know he had robbed that store. That
Oh,
was
all right.
found out afterwards.
Yeah. All right, good.
Yeah.
I trapped you in.
Yes, sir.
I
No
trapped
problem.
you in, all right? So, in other words, the officer, just to kill him.
Well, I don't think the officer just went out to kill him.
Well, right?
There was a confrontation.
The officer who was, quote unquote, involved in a confrontation with this personal, bodily contact.
Yeah, body contact, right.
Bodily
Supposedly,
contact
yes.
with the person kill him, and yet we do not find the burns, the gunpowder burns on the skin. What we see is just a hole. We see, as a matter of fact, we see 6 holes, right? And without the border area being burned by gunpowder, that indicates the distance, which contradicts to the fact that it was a bodily contact. Am I right?
No, because the bodily contact was before the separation of the bodies. The body contact between the Brown and the officer was before the separation
All
of
right,
their
all right,
bodies.
all right, all right.
Yeah.
You're making a very good point to yourself, right? When
tried.
the body contact was broken up already, why would you still feel the danger, so dangerous that you have to fire 6 shots to kill the guy you just separated from?
It may, Jack, I don't know. It may be a temporary separation, and then like look at boxing. They get
And the temporary separation, the guy came back, and the officer fired, and then you still see the gunpowder burns in the neighboring area. Once again, you do not see that. How do you explain? How do we explain?
You'd have to be there. I don't know.
Once again,
because
the forensic report knows, the forensic finding knows, the autopsy report knows, right? My problem is that the autopsy report is there, they just don't attach themselves to it.
Well, let me make one point that I just have to make, pretty please. We're talking about a circumstance here relating to that guy where there are many unanswered questions. But to me, a very much more important point is when you have violence, rioters, and losers, all the answers are there. They are evil in their heart, and they are doing things very bad. And I want to emphasize that's my main interest about this. What is happening to the soul of Americans that makes violence and crime, violence and looting and stealing other things and destroying other people's property? What is leading us for people to do that so casually?
Yeah,
that troubles me.
I know your point.
More than Michael Brown's 6 holes.
I know your point. We're talking about law. We're not talking about sentimental feelings, right? No emotion.
Oh, it's not sentimental. No,
right?
this is psychological.
Sure, like psychological.
Why does evil
let's
exist
call it
so
psychological,
much?
right? Suppose if that guy Mike Brown did something, suppose say he just committed a murder, killed somebody,
Right.
and he was caught on spot, red-handed,
Right. Yeah.
right? But one thing for sure, we have to confirm that he had nothing with his hand as as a weapon.
If he strangled a guy, the cop should not be shooting him if he's not in.
He didn't have a gun on him, right? Well, now, and then later, he was arrested, for example.
Yeah.
He was put in jail, and then through due legal process in court, the judge finding the juror finds him guilty, right? The verdict was death, and then he was put in on death row for
20 years,
25 years,
right? Exactly.
And then there goes the gas chamber. No, nowadays
Right.
we don't do the gas chamber. We do the injections,
Right.
We do the cocktails.
Yeah, which I think is
so he gets the cocktail. But now,
probably never. Yeah.
so now, suppose he was that kind of person, did he deserve to be executed on the spot?
I don't believe he was executed on the spot. I think he was shot under circumstances I don't fully understand, justified or not, I don't know. He was not executed. Executed indicates a person intends to kill you, and I think the officer intended to protect himself, and I think there's a difference.
If it is not a determination of execution, why would 6 fires be fired?
When you're protecting yourself, I don't think you're counting shots. I wouldn't be. You are just trying to assure yourself that you have success in protecting yourself. So I don't know the answer.
No. To you and me, when we pull the trigger, we might not be counting the shots.
Right.
Police officers who are trained on the job, right?
Yeah.
And their trigger is their job, right?
It's a part
I
of the
don't
job.
think they fire without counting their shots.
No, I don't
Without
think they sit
counting
there
how many-
1, 2, 3.
How many fires? No, they're not doing the 1, 2, 3 thing.
Yeah.
At least they know how many times they pull up the trigger.
The other thing too, which I think you probably disagree with, but when you under stress, if you fire a shot, you're not instantly sure that it hit the guy. Now you're saying the whole body flies back, but it all depends on so many things. Okay.
Once again, you get yourself in the same problem.
Okay.
You're trying to get out.
I'm not.
Now, when you are not sure if you shoot the guy already, if you have or have not shoot the guy, that indicates distance, are you? Don't you think so?
Not necessarily. You can miss. Guys miss 2-foot putts in golf. You can miss a guy.
If I shoot you from this distance, there's no way that I get confused
You
if
can-
I shot you.
You can miss. Yeah, you can, I think you. Yeah, no. Well, you know, in distance, I don't consider to be the ultimate and only factor.
Can.
Yeah.
Please be with me.
Yes, sir.
It's either or, right? Either the guy was close to the officer, there was a physical bodily contact with each other.
Prior to the shooting.
Yeah, so that,
Yeah.
so that shots were fired.
Okay.
So that the body we find the gunpowder burns, or in the distance, the officer fired.
Well, yeah, and I want to. I got
Not only one, but not only two, but 6 shots.
Yeah, and I want to make a point before
Making sure if I miss my target.
Right. But let me say, I want to make a point before the show's over,
Uh-huh.
and that is, if it had been a black cop or a white cop shoot a white guy, it wouldn't be even in the news, and that's troubling.
I don't think so.
I do
don't
think
think
so.
so.
I do think
I don't
so.
think so.
I do.
This country is being judicious on a day-to-day basis, right?
Not really.
Trayvon Martin in Florida was killed by a white guy, and the white guy was innocent.
I'm just saying, it made the news. This makes the news way more than any white cop or black cop shooting a guy under whatever the
I
circumstances
don't think
are.
so.
Okay.
I don't
so
think,
we
well,
disagree, and
I don't
honorably.
think racial profiling the case would be the way of solution. The solution
No,
is
no.
to look into the autopsy report,
Look.
respect the scientific finding.
Look, Al Sharpton is down there, and he is a problem, a race baiter. He goes it to make it more of a big story for his own agenda. Same with Eric Holder, okay? He does not enforce the law on an equal
Well, of
basis,
course.
blind to race.
Yeah,
so
we
those
can-
are troubling to
we
me.
can blame everything. That was a wrong day. The sun has some black spots on the surface,
Or white.
or white.
Yeah.
It delivers some wrong signals. Well, for a blink of a moment, for a blink of an eye, well, the officer was taken away. So that he fired a shot with a misconcept.
I'm
or
just
something.
saying, I think this gets
don't know.
200 million times more attention than if it had been in reverse.
All right. Anyway, back to Missouri, the show me state. The poor show me state is looking for answers that they can be shown to the people, to the regular people. And of course, once again, I'm not speaking for anybody. And once again,
Right.
what I say here represents myself. As my personal, totally nothing but my personal opinion. Doesn't represent this show, nor does it represent this organization.
Right.
So it's totally my argument. Number 2 declaration I want to make
Yes,
is
sir.
that we may argue,
Right.
we may fight, and we're friends
And,
forever.
and we love humanity. That's what our soul is.
All right, good. All right, thank you very much. We will be back talking about the same case, probably as the case develops. So let's book for it. So,
Thank you.
let's see you next time.
Thank you, Jack.